Hi Aries, if I don't start this video, I'm not going to start it and I'm not going to end up doing it. So I'm starting before I'm ready to push myself into the reading. Why is that? Uranus was messing with you and who you are for 7 years. Who you are. I am, Aries says, and Uranus said, oh yeah? Who are you exactly? Let me disrupt everything that you think makes you you. So 7 years ago, you may have been really attached to having a lot of money. And then it was gone. The business fell apart. You may have been really attached to your looks. Okay. So these two came up in reverse. You may have been attached to your looks and then something happened or you got sick and you lost something that your identity was wrapped up in. Maybe your I am identity was all about being with someone. And 7 years ago, that started to fall apart in every way possible. Everything fell apart that made you you. Everything was disrupted that you thought made you you. And now, in 13 days, it will be gone. And what does it leave behind? First three cards are the Magician, the Empress, and the Knight of Cups. Second three cards are King of Wands, boom, the Strength card, and the Star card in reverse. I have something on my face. I'm not going to stop the video because everything is making me want to stop because this is super emotional. That's also why I'm wearing this fake Gucci again, because this is about parents. It's about my mom. It's about me being a mom, how all of this ties in together. And I think that my sensory system is trying to stop me, which is fine. I can deal with it. But I am having quite a hard time focusing on giving hard news. In the Virgo reading, for example, there was a lot of mention of me not maintaining eye contact. Libra reading as well, because I have a soft heart. It's hard for me to give harsh news. So I have a tendency to look away when I have to do it because I don't want you to see your pain reflected in my eyes. It's, I try in my weird Virgo moon ways to be helpful. Sometimes it doesn't work. So, all right, let's look at the first three cards. Now that this disruption of who you are is leaving, what does it leave behind? Does it leave behind a bombed out mess? Only if we look at it that way. Or does it leave behind enormous potential to create enormous abundance? Enormous potential to create enormous abundance and attract to us all that we want. The end of a disruptive cycle can be seen as a time of reconstruction, or it can be seen as a time of mourning and grieving because you have a chance now to sit and look at everything that used to be that was disrupted. So about 7 years ago is when my marriage started to fall apart. And it was solely on me that I, left and that I wanted to leave. Never anything from the other side in that way. But 7 years ago, Aries in Venus and Mars, the way I interacted with my partner started to change. Started to get so disrupted, actually, that I had to break from it. And then for the next 7 years, bringing us up to now, it has been one disruption in my love life after another. more and more painful, more and more disruptive, more and more seemingly nonsensical. Like, what is the point of this now? Kind of stuff. It's been difficult, especially because of the mother element. It's one thing to have disruption in that part of your life or in your first house, as you have, when it's just you. If you're questioning your identity as a woman, as a man, as a partner, as a wife, it's fine. But if you're doing that and you also have someone that you have brought into the world and you are responsible for, it is that much more compounded when you start going through a disruptive cycle, because anyone attached to you or who loves you will also be disrupted. So my Aries mom started going through this cycle right when I did. And for her, like for you guys, it was in her first house. So it disrupted that which she holds to be the cornerstone or touchstone of her identity. So for her, that was being a nurse, working, having a business, all of that. And so it is no surprise that over the last 7 years, she has done what no one thought she would do, which is retire. It has been a long, drawn-out process, full of drama, actually. And in the same way, when she started her Uranus transit into the first house, I started mine into the house of action and love. And we have traveled for 7 years together now on a very painful road. So it is with no small amount of shame that I admit that the other day I was extremely mean to my mother. Like when you're so mean that you know as the words are coming out of your mouth that you should shut the fuck up and you don't because you just can't stop yourself. Maybe it's a Gemini thing. I'm sure you guys can relate in some way though. Maybe the way you guys feel when you're about to like hit somebody. So the crux of the lashing out was basically me taking 7 years of a Uranus transit where everything in my love life was disrupted and blaming her for it because of how I was raised and how she treated me growing up, which is, I don't like the way that sounds actually in my ears. How she treated me growing up is not the appropriate way to put it because she was just working all the time. She didn't treat me like anything. She was, and her response to my criticism and my being really, really mean. I just wash my hair. It does this for days. After I wash it, it takes it days to calm down. Anyway, her response to my critique and my very hurtful, judgment of her was, okay, well, I had 3 kids in private school and I was a sole, provider with this business that I was running. And I apologize that my version of parenting, meaning giving you the best education and giving you, everything that I could possibly provide you with so you could become, successful, intelligent, successful, et cetera, et cetera. I'm sorry if that, in your eyes, is bad parenting. And she dismissed it that way, but what I didn't know is that for the next 2 days, she was in tears and she was like miserable and so, so hurt. And I knew as I was saying the things that I was saying that they weren't her fault, but that my Uranus transit through Aries had brought up all my wounds, my emotional wounds, and exposed every one of them. And I could track them all back to her because she is the source of me. But what I didn't understand until I blew up at her, and I don't think I would have until she put it in perspective for me, was that your wounds, although they are yours and you are allowed to hold on to them and not heal them as long as you wish, those wounds have never been in vain. Those wounds that you are now having to clear out as Chiron enters your sign and you get to, get that first antibacterial flush, which is what I'm really describing here. It's the end of the disruption and the beginning of the cleanup. what I needed to understand from her was, I was doing something that was a million times larger in scale than what you needed from me. And ultimately, what you really needed from me, I gave you. So it's fine and good that you have these wounds and you want to heal them and you can trace back, your present day issues to something I've done to you. That's fine. But don't think for a second that this was just some ploy to hurt you, that everyone was just there, doing what we were doing so you wouldn't get the attention that you needed, so you wouldn't have the time that you needed. We were all completely immersed in trying to provide for you. I'm sorry if we missed, that particular element of it. And what she was actually saying to me was, yeah, you feel bad about this stuff, but there's another side to this. It's not all about you. No matter how much you hurt from what may be legitimately a thing, it still doesn't really matter because there's so much more context around what you went through. If you want to isolate that one thing and take it completely out of context and say, this is why I hurt, this is why I refuse to heal, which was her point. The reason you're taking it out of context is because if you put it in context, you would have to heal from that and move on. But you don't want to. You want to hold on to it, right? And so Uranus is leaving, so I can't hold on to it. Chiron is going to come in and came in and is flushing, and I don't want to let go of my wound. I don't want it to heal, And my mother has no time for that. She's like, "What? You don't want to get better? Get out of my face." What? Like, I can't even have a conversation with you if you don't want to constantly excel and be your best. I don't want to talk to you. It's not even like about criticizing me. It's just, why would you allow anything in your life to not be a learning experience? Okay, you think I wasn't there for you? Use it as a learning experience. Be there for your son. You don't think your son is going to grow up and say, oh, you were gone every 3 months? What were you doing? And she's right. She's like, you buy fake Gucci and put it in your drawers, so when your son, borrows your clothes without asking and he messes them up, you don't get upset with him. Facts. That's why I bought this, actually. I didn't get it to throw shade. I just, it was convenient. So I was like, oh, let's throw some shade. But I bought it so I could replace all my clothes with fake Gucci. I'm actually wearing, look at this. Look at it. Look at the extent of which I've gone. This is one of my favorite Gucci shirts. And this is the fake of it. So when it's in my drawer later and he wears it without asking probably, and goes to the skateboard club and inevitably gets food and grease and everything else on it, I'll just be like, mm-hmm. She's like, you be doing the most for your son, right? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, you don't think I did the most for you? She's like, but if you want to, you can turn anything into a wound. If you want to, you can turn anything into a reason to get stuck. But don't you dare try to blame me for where you're stuck in your life. And I was like, ooh, Chiron, with this Aries. It would be one thing if she was just annoying. It's what's worse is that she's right. Let's look at these cards. Moral of the story is, first of all, be nice to your mother. Don't be mean to your mother, because karma, right? 2, we be doing the same stuff that people do to us. We do. So I had to make the New York face when I said that, because it was that bitter for me to swallow that. We be doing the same stuff that people do to us. So, like she said, to take any one thing isolated out of a larger thing and say, this is the reason that I can't be happy. This is the reason that I'm not going to heal. This particular thing that happened to me, out of all the other things that I use as a learning experience, because I'm an Aries and I use everything as a learning experience. I want to get better. I want to be the best. But this one thing, no, I'm going to stick to it. This one thing I'm not going to let go of. I'm going to be mad about this thing. Why'd I get sick? Why'd that thing happen to me? Why'd I lose that job 7 years ago? Why'd I lose my hair? Why'd that dude leave me? Why'd I lose my business? Whatever. You want to stick to it now? You have no one to blame but yourself, because now we have an opportunity to move forward and do what? To transmute all of that disruption and, let's be real, destruction into what? Empress, baby. Power, wealth, abundance, pregnancy, marriage. What do you want? What do you want? You got to ask for it. What do you want? And the water sign energy coming to you, acknowledging and, right, paying homage to you. Yes? In your power, re-emerging through the power of transmutation and positive self-image into the most powerful version of yourself. Fantastic. Perfect. And then the Strength card and the Star card. So, why in reverse? I was really surprised to see them in reverse, actually. But I understand why. I understood as soon as I picked them up that I had to show them to you in reverse. I understand why. Actually, it was the Star and then the Strength card. So, you have now the power to choose what you want and get what you want. You have the power to use the flushing waters of pain and getting all the disruption and all the debris out, and to start again with boldness, with pride, with strength, with all that. Leo, you have it. You can do it. And the last 7 years has made you so afraid to try. Because I'm going to try, it's not going to work, I'm going to be disappointed, forget it. I mean, nothing has gone right for 7 years. What do you want from me, Amber? Now all of a sudden you want me to start believing in this stuff again? Now you want me to be optimistic again? Like this is actually going to work? Yeah, you're just looking at it wrong. You turned around, remember? The arcana, the road signs are never turned upside down. You are looking at them upside down. But the road is long, and things are ending, and new ones are beginning. No matter how scared you are, we got to walk down this road. No matter how much you want to hold on to those new wounds, you got to heal and move forward. And that is all there is to it, because you are a sign of power. And power is where we find you now in May. But if you are dealing with an Aquarius or a Leo, they are not cooperating. I'll be doing the Aquarius reading soon. But they are turned around mainly because of the amount of power, strength that is coming off of you. They don't know how to react to it because you haven't been very strong. You've been in a lot of ways weakened from taking so many hits, Also, if you have this inclination in Taurus season to get really, nesty and be super about your house and about just, wanting to be soft and pretty at home and do soft and pretty things. And if you're a guy, you want to just really clean and make things really spiffy. This is the time to do it, because this is the season that will set you up for a really nice summer. And a really nice summer in terms of cleaning out the mess. Maybe symbolically, it is important after all this destruction to do some really pretty stuff for ourselves. Shout out my piece of art by this Danish artist. It's a gun that turns into a snake. So Aries, actually, war weapons. Now, I'm going to show you these cards and we'll look at them in terms of the major arcana, but also in terms of who you're dealing with in your life. So since I don't have my crazy light, we can just do this. Oh, that's not working. Give me 1 second, please. Hi. All right. Now, we're going to look at these. We're going to pull our cards for the extended so you can see them, just in case you don't want to watch it, but you can still know what cards come up. and then we'll clarify all of it in the extended. Okay? All right, so as you can see, the first card out is a boon. Hey, don't worry, the disruption is over and now we've got all these raw materials. Chill. If you're dealing with a Sagittarius, coming up very positive. If you're dealing with earth signs in general, coming up very positive. The Empress going straight from, hey, we've got all these raw materials and I'm ready to work for you, to, hey, why don't we head in this direction? How about using these raw materials to rebuild abundance? Let's start from the ground up. In any aspect where you have Aries, Sun, Moon, Rising, Mercury, Venus, it doesn't matter. In that area of your life, now that the disruption has left you, you have a chance to become much more than you were before it came. Remember, it leaves things in rubble, but underneath it is gold. And one of the things that happens during this time period is the water signs really become very active with you. They want to reach out to you. I suggest you let them do it. Don't reach out to them. Don't pull on them at all. Stay with this powerful rebuilding energy of yourself. Stay to yourself a little bit when it comes to people. Let them come to you. All right. And then, what is this? There's all these little things everywhere that are bothering me. I told you, I'm very in my Virgo moon energy these days. I'm hiding from my Gemini energy, that's why, because Gemini's wildin'. All right. Now, if you allow, this is also a card of, hey, be receptive because things are coming to you. If you allow that receptivity, what's going to happen is you're going to grow in power. You've got a lot of power right now. It's growing steadily. And usually what happens when you grow steadily in your power is that you have a tendency to alienate some people. Some people are drawn to you because of it, and some people are alienated. Now, if these are people in your life, a Leo and an Aquarius, this stubborn energy right now is having a very hard time dealing with your cardinal ass. And I suggest that you leave them be. Now, as far as road signs are concerned, like we talked about, if you were upright, you would see, hey, Aries, good job. That which you want most is starting to appear and manifest in front of you. Keep going with those positive thoughts. However, because it's in reverse, it's being shown to you instead of me, because you're the one that needs to see it, not me. You're the one that needs to be reminded that what you want is in the palm of your hand, but you got to have the right attitude to understand that. You can't see the thing in the palm of your hand until you have this mindset, and then it's like it magically appears, but it's not magically appearing. It was always there. Now, if this card was upright, it would be telling me that you are coming into a time of prosperity and strength and calm and boldness and action, resolute, popular, abundant, wealth, all of that. In reverse, like this, being shown to you, it's trying to remind you of what you are and what sort of energy that you need to employ. Both of these, this is really your guide, they're your manifestation guide. Your emotional intelligence plus your childish will when it comes to manifestation is what gets you everywhere. Why is that the mechanism within you that's turned around? What's going on? It's too fast, huh? After all the disruption and all the pain and all the horror of the last few years, now this surge of power, now we're supposed to just get back on the horse? I mean, I guess. You know, if I was more of a Saturnian reader, I could give you a lecture about it, but I'm not. I think it's fine. I'm very forgiving of people's speed when it comes to their process. And you may feel frustrated just because the process has been 7 years. And I think Aries might have preferred to have all the disruption really, really bad in 1 year and get it out of the way. And so it's really frustrating when, as an Aries, you come up against a transit that you can't rush. You can't help it. And that's also part of the reason for doing your reading late. You know, this transit that is now 2 weeks, has 2 weeks left, you can't rush these 2 weeks out. You cannot. You can't rush the cosmos. You can't rush the universe. You cannot. You see how slow the planet is moving now that it's leaving? It just is holding you, right? It's holding you because it's like, I want to just shake it until it, like, is there anything else that can fall apart? Are you sure? Are you sure? Because I want to leave you with the best raw material possible. And yes, it may have seemed awfully hellish, but what is to emerge, I promise you, is you never imagined that version of yourself that's going to emerge now. It's going to be wonderful and daunting and frightening, right? What's the opposite of strength? Fear. What's the opposite of hope? Fear. All right? So now, that's the bottom of the deck. Yeah, all this 4 business. Let's pull your extended cards. And then we'll look at them. It's a very good reading. It's balanced. There's some truth. There's some encouragement. The amount of major arcana is awesome. Okay. 5 of Swords, Page of Cups. Interesting. So this person's coming back around because they were not honest the first time. 4 of Wands. Okay. Judgment. 6 of Cups. Very popular this month. Venus and Gemini, not surprised. 9 of Wands. 8 of Wands. Yep. 8 of Swords. Page of Swords, the Fool. So that's your extended. And then we'll pull clarifiers for these. And we'll pull clarifiers for these major arcana. Actually, no, we're going to leave everything on the table because that page means that that knight is, you see how the pages and the knights, there's power struggles going on. So as you readjust, that's what I like about doing the extended here, so I can get a more complete message, and then we can go into that in detail later. But if one of the things you may be feeling is power struggles right now with people, especially, both of these signs are really stubborn. And I should have picked up on that before, that there's obviously a power struggle here. That's why they're turned around too. So there's a fluctuation right now between you and people where you're giving your power, taking your power, giving your power, taking your power. And I would love to see you in a place where you interact with people without ever losing an ounce of personal power, where you exchange energy all day long, but not power. We'll talk about that in the extended. All right. I love you guys. I'm so sorry that your reading is a little bit late, but definitely needed to be done after the Scorpio full moon because, like I said, Gemini's wildin'. And I needed to make sure I wasn't wildin'. So, okay, we'll look at this. I love you guys. There's a bunch of satsang dates coming up in August. It's turning into a bit of a book tour. The extendeds, the links will be below, or you can just watch them straight from my website or go to the extended readings tab on my website. And if you want to pay via Shopify, there's also a link for that. And there's a link to order Vector Equilibrium, the book. That should, inshallah, be out in a month. And there's a New York Times article, hey, that you can look at. It'll be in the info below. All right? I love you guys. June. It's going to be good. This is good. This is good. Don't let these power struggles. Look, you see this? This is you. We come out of a time where I am was shaken to the core. And now you get to imprint what the new I am is. Don't get stuck here. What is there to be afraid of? What, that you're going to get what you want? No, but I'm afraid I'm not going to get it. But you will. That period is over. Like my mom said, you could stay stuck there, or you can use it as a learning experience and move on. I mean, she already moved on. Uranus isn't even out of the sign yet. You know what? Just, okay. Just okay. I love you guys. I'll see you in June.